welcome Mr. Mike Devine, IBM, to DatacenterDynamics stand. Just heard your keynote, very, very interesting keynote about the Internet of Things. Could you just summarize very quickly for us how much the Internet of Things is expanding at the moment and how you're dealing with it?
Yeah, so I think the Internet of Things are going to be at a scale that we've never, it's unprecedented scale. I think people are going to realize that they can have more interconnection, more intelligence, and being able to do things in real time because they can get that information in real time. They're going to find all kinds of new use cases for it, and they're going to want more and more. So I think it's going to be a real challenge with traditional IT. So I think IT is going to have to change to a cloud-first kind of an approach where they can take full advantage of the horizontal scale that a cloud provider provides.
From what you're saying then, it seems that the cloud is approaching even faster than we thought in terms of the cloud. How are companies going to adopt to that pace of change?
Well, I think one of the things that they're going to have to do is they're going to have to get comfortable with consuming more managed services from providers and being able to basically integrate those services together in a composite way. People are not going to be able to build every single thing and be able to compete. They need to be able to assemble things, some of which they might build, some of which they might consume from other providers. I think that's the shift we're going to see. It's the only way they're going to really be able to move at that cloud speed that I talked about.
And does that explain the open computes, the fact that more people are moving to open compute? Is that part of the process?
Yeah, so I think this whole aspect of openness, being able to have an open community, be able to autonomously innovate, and be able to communicate with each other, this aspect of composability and continuously delivering services. I think that's all around this kind of open environment that we have. I think people that move into a very proprietary, closed kind of an approach are going to find out they're quickly outpaced by the open community.
Now, one of the final questions I'm going to ask you, and one of the most fascinating points about your really good keynote was the clustering of the VCs around the Internet of Things. Now, our readers will be very interested in a little bit more detail about that. That's the way you characterized it was really interesting.
Yeah, so I've never seen so much infusion of VC money like I am around Internet of Things. I think part of it is because there's so many different use cases and there's so much potential for doing good and making our world better that it's just natural, kind of feels good to figure out, okay, wow, I want to do something that's going to make our air supply better or our water supply better.
And you're pointing out loads of smaller companies that were doing that.
Absolutely.
So that means that the smaller, really agile, really interesting, was you one person and no garage companies,
yes,
are going to really take part in this huge explosion of...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, with the cloud being so readily available, a single individual or a few individuals can make a huge impact because they don't have the burden of the infrastructure and the scale. Somebody's taking that off their hands so they can focus on where they need to innovate. Their true innovative spirit is allowed to flourish because somebody's taken away the cost and just the skill that's required to scale to the degree that they need to. I remember back in the early .coms, there was a lot of innovative spirit, but when somebody got successful, they had the burden of the infrastructure themselves to provide that service, and they got so tied up in delivering that service that they could no longer innovate. The cost burden just overwhelmed them. And so that's why you had the implosion of the .com era.
And final question then, is the process going to carry on then of companies like IBM buying lots of these small companies at the point where they explode to help them develop?
Yeah, so I think you'll continue to see a consolidation in the IoT ecosystem where larger companies are going to try to acquire more innovative companies. IBM's already done that in a couple of cases, like I mentioned Cloudin in my keynote. And one of the things that we've tried to do, as you might have noticed in the IBM side, is you have SoftLayer, an IBM company. You have Cloudin, an IBM company. You have FiberLink, an IBM company.
Yes.
And so what we're trying to do is maintain their autonomy, maintain their agility. Used to have a process we called Blue Watch where we made them into IBM assets. What we're trying to do now is to actually do the opposite, to try to have IBM become more agile and learn from those agile companies that we acquire into the fold.
That's a really interesting development. Mike, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you much.